Hello, 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 and welcome back to the night show with the Onealien. Hey, everybody, this is John O'Neill, and this is the Onealien Show. Hey, and welcome back. It is Wednesday, someday in March. I think the 8th, maybe 7th, 8th, or 9th. We'll call it the 8th. I'm here in beautiful, sunny Scottsdale, Arizona, coming to you from the towers of Star Worldwide Networks. Man, what a blessing to be back with you. What's on my mind today? I don't know. I'm solo, so I don't have a guest. I didn't bring one of my friends. You're stuck with me for the next few minutes. So what is in the mind of the Onealien? Who knows? Let's dive in and see what we could bring out, see what's going on. I want to, number one, start every show as I do, thanking you for your participation in my life. Thanking you for your participation with the show. We're on TikTok. See all the engagement. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. All over the place. Twitter. Don't forget about the Twitter. So we're everywhere. The Onealien Show. Not only that, but we're on the World Wide Web. Straight at theonealien.com. So again, I've gotten feedback. I've gotten some comments. I've gotten some shares and some likes. And as we know, we don't base our life on the social media. That's not the importance. That is not your validation. But let's be real. We're also human beings. And so sometimes we love a little bit of feedback. So I always love your feedback, and I take it all into consideration. Feel me? The Onealien Show. We're here on Wednesday. If you guys remember back, if you don't remember, then go back to show number 1 or 2 when I kind of broke a lot of things down, some philosophical and ideological ways that I approach life. You know, perspectives that have helped me navigate through life and gain the success that I was seeking. And one of them was seek first to understand. You guys remember that? The other one was always assume the best, right? Always assume the best. And the third one that I just want to say really quick, and it's really because it's on my mind, right? And typically it's on my mind because it has happened and it becomes practical, right? We always want practical things. All of us have done sermons. All of us have heard sermons. All of us have been to conventions, and we've done all those things. And we all know that a lot of times you leave there with a bunch of material and it sits on your desk or it sits on a table somewhere, and then pretty soon it's off into the trash or off into the utility drawer. Who's got a utility drawer in their house that seems to have a whole bunch of garbage and crap? You don't want to throw none of it away, and right? So we've got information here on the Onealien Show. As I extend my helping hand, that's where my heart is from. That's where it's coming from. Hopefully you've got some nuggets. Hopefully you get something that you could apply practically in your life today. That's what we're here for. Feel me? So one of the third things is comes from a book called QBQ. If you've never read it, it's kind of a little bit of an older book, but it's got an awesome principle. QBQ is a book. The question behind the question is what it's called. And what it outlines is, in summary, and what I pulled from it, what resonated with me out of the book that I've kept with me, and it's on the wall in my conference room, and it just really has helped me. It has helped me with situations, and that is to not dwell on the why, okay? When things happen to you in life, when things come your way, inevitably they're going to happen, and inevitably they're going to come your way. A lot of times we want to find the blame, we want to find the fault, just to make us feel better, especially if it's not us, right? Someone else did it, or something else happened, or this is how it occurred. Okay, so we focus a lot of times on the why when we have that negative outcome, when we have that outcome in our life where we feel a little uncomfortable, right? And so we just sit there and we're asking why? QBQ challenges you to not worry about the why as much, but worry about the what. What could I have done differently is the primary question for you to ask yourself anytime in your life where the outcome just isn't quite what you expected or what you wanted, what you desired, right? Undesirable outcomes in your life. Ask the question, sit down and reflect and contemplate. How did I get here? Okay. The question behind the question is, what could I have done differently? What I have found is, and I call it like a accountability trail, right? I could go all the way through all the occurrences, all the things that happened, and the people that contributed to the outcome, and write down the accountability trail. And a lot of times, you may not be hardly at fault at all, but if you reflect, if you really take time to reflect on how you got to where you're at, then the question is, what could I have done differently? And nearly every time, I'm saying every time, don't check me on that. Almost every time I found a place, because in that accountability trail, in that creation, the manifestation of the negative outcome, there was a point in there where I asked the question, what could I have done differently? And the question is so key for me because there's only one person that I can control. In all the outcomes of my life, there's really only one thing that I have any remote control over, and that is myself. So when those things arise, when that comes, whatever you got, whatever's going on in your life, whatever's happening, right? You may feel like it's completely out of control, and that's normal. But look back and just say, man, the question behind the question is, what could I have done differently? You may have been able to say something differently. You may have just been able to have a different attitude. You may have been able to construct a conversation differently. You may have been a little bit proactive, maybe on a maintenance item or something. What could you have done differently is what I challenge you to ask yourself today in all of your outcomes in life. What could you have done differently? Because the only thing you can control is yourself, your own thoughts, your own perspective, your own actions, right? Your own responses. Ooh, slow to response. Man, I had to learn that. I was tested just today. Had a great meeting with another organization, and I had those who know me just know that my brain moves really fast, and I've got a response, right? Active listening says slow to respond. Don't respond. Wait. Right? Don't listen to respond. So slow to respond and just think about what's going on, okay? Slow to respond slowly. What could you have done differently? There is something right now in your life where the outcome is just not comfortable to you, where the outcome is just not what you projected or what you expected. And the only thing, you can't go back and change anybody else. You can't go back and change a lot of times the circumstances that come at you in life. The only thing that you have any remote chance of controlling, and that is yourself. So ask, what could you have done differently? Does that make sense? Perfect. All right, the other thing that we're going to do today, really quick, not really quick, as long as it takes for me to say it, but the other thing that I wanted to focus on today, if you guys remember again about show 4, 5, 6, somewhere in there, go on to Star Worldwide Networks. You'll see the whole list of shows. Click on mine, the Onealien Show, and you're going to see all of my shows. I think there's like 10 of them on there right now. Some of them video, some of them audio, but you can go on there and check them all out. I did one on leadership, right? If you remember, I did one on leadership, and we kind of went down through a lot of leadership principles that I have found to be effective in my life, in my leadership positions, right? And so I want to touch on point number 2, we'll call it, of this lengthy series, right? You got to go check out leadership number 1. It's on the title, so you can't miss it. LEADERSHIP, leadership, right? I know you know how to spell, but helping you out anyways, right? Go check that out, leadership, and then come into this one, which is about teamwork, right? Teamwork. Wow. Okay. Well, a lot of us have played teams. We played teams. A lot of us have been on teams, right? A lot of us have been on professional teams, personal teams. We've been in a relationship that's considered a team of 2. Okay. We have family environments where that's a whole team. Teamwork is essential, right? Teamwork for me, just to make it real simple for my mind, and that is just a group of people, 2 or more individuals who are working towards a common goal in cooperation. Okay, so you may not even recognize that you're on a team, but quite honestly, it takes teamwork just to operate in our society, doesn't it? It takes teamwork in traffic when you're going up to a 4-way stop, right? It takes teamwork. We're cooperating to get through this intersection, and we know the laws or the rules. The person to the left or the right, one of them goes first. I don't know which one because I'm horrible at a 4-way stop because I'll wait about 10 seconds. If ain't nobody moving, I'm shooting through. So teamwork, though, requires cooperation with everybody. Teamwork. So let's talk about teamwork, both in our personal life and in our professional life. What are some components? What are some components that we can make sure are in place to have an effective team, right? Old saying, but we use it a lot in my organization. That's called teamwork makes a dream work, okay? So we have a dream, we're trying to go, we have a common destination, and we have a group of individuals who cooperate in order to get there. Does that make sense? But for me as a leader, for you, if you are leading a team, if you are, or if you're even just assessing a team, you may be assessing the team that you're on. There's a few things. There's 4 things that I want to cover real quick today to help you out. Teamwork. How do we make teamwork effective? How do we make teamwork prevalent in our lives? Okay, you guys know. Extending a helping hand. So I've got to be a team player because I'm trying to help people and because I have people around me to help me. So team is important. Team is paramount for me. I assemble teams, okay? And assembly is one of the first points. How do you assemble? What do you use to assemble your team? How do you know what team to assemble? What individuals, what roles to assemble in your team, right? And there's a saying that I use, and it's called the right person in the right role. That is part of building an effective team, and that's one of the hardest things is to find the right people and make sure that they're in the right roles. Okay, how many times have we been in a job in ourselves? In our professional lives where we felt like our skill set, we felt like our abilities really could be utilized better over in a different type of role. But maybe this was the way we got in, or maybe this is where our education aligned us to. So this is the role we landed inside this organization. But assembling an effective team looks beyond all those things. We're looking beyond the degrees, and we're looking beyond those things. Of course, knowledge comes into a major factor of how you do it, but a person's skills and abilities, their passions, right, also play into finding the right people to fill the right role. Does that make sense? And conversely, opposite of that is having listen to the words very clearly, because what I don't do is demean a person. Okay, so the saying in contrary, the opposite of a right person in the right role is a right person. See that? See how I did that right there? The person still has skills and abilities. Everybody has skills and abilities. So there's never a wrong person. What it is the right person in the wrong role, right? So in your organization, in your wherever you're at, whatever team that you're on, evaluate. We want to assemble the right people to fulfill the right positions. And there's things that you got to dig deeper. How does your team communicate? You know, in my organization, we talk about communication. We want to be very clear about our strengths and our weaknesses when it comes to communication, effective communication, both for me to understand how I communicate and understand how I receive communication, as well as everyone else on your team. Communication is key. So take time to evaluate as you're looking and you're assessing, as you're assembling the people, okay, you want to make sure you have the right people in the right roles. And there may come a time when you find that you have the right person, they're just in the wrong role, right? And there's times when I've had to have that conversation, okay? There has been times actually when I've had to sit a person down and I had to let them know, I had to communicate with them that they were the right person in the wrong role, okay? And myself as a leader, it's my task to make sure that they get into the right role, right? To make sure that they're in a role within my organization where they could flourish. Because if the team members in your organization are flourishing, what else is happening? Obviously, your business is flourishing, right? You're reaching your goals. So there's been times when I've had to sit a person down and just said, listen, the burden is on me as a leader to find you, the right person, with the right role. And unfortunately, right now, I really feel like with performance evaluation, with your potentially their feelings of unhappiness or unfulfillment, okay, not being challenged, right, not using their gifts and their abilities for what they feel like they're designed for. So there's times when you have to have that hard conversation and come to a reconciliation, right? You're the right person, you're just in the wrong role, okay? Now, unfortunately, sir, madam, I'm struggling finding that really good role for you, right? And then a lot of times I'll have so much thought into it that I'll say, what I see you flourishing in, what I see you doing well in is this type of position, this type of role, these types of tasks, right? And so by me communicating that I care about them, that I've thought about them, that I understand them, their gifts and their abilities, their passions, right? And that I've taken on the burden and the accountability as a leader within the organization to find the right person and get them in the right role, not in the wrong role, okay? However, in conclusion, we may not have that role here, right? We can't just create a role. You may be the right person in a different type of role. But right now, you're the right person. I just got you in the wrong role. And unfortunately, right now at this time, we don't have that type of role here at this organization. Is that simple? Assembling a team, you have to, don't compromise. Don't create stuff out of nowhere. We have to have the right people in the right roles. Assemble your team, evaluating the people and making sure they're in the right roles for your organization to be the most successful. Point number one, you got it? Assemble them. After they're assembled, we want to assess them. We want to always be evaluating and assessing our workforce, our team members, okay? And one of the methodologies that I have adapted is, and it came from working, I don't even know where, but I took it with me and I've kind of dialed it in and protected it a little bit. Hold on one second. And they said I had a blotter. Gets shiny in here. Gets shiny in here. All the bright lights. So you want to assess your team, okay? And one of the ways that I want to share with you today for you to reach out if you need more details, but I call it the top third, the middle third, and the bottom third. So out of all your people, 3 people, 2 is going to be hard, split up thirds unless one person wants to give up their legs. But assess the people. Assess your team. Right? Assess all of the members of your team and break them down into the top third, the middle third, and the bottom third, right? Let's see, what are those, John? You might ask. I heard you asking, so let me explain it to you. The top third, middle third, bottom third. As I evaluate my team all the time, even when I'm sitting with my leaders, we'll list everybody and we'll really go through this exercise because we always want to be expending our resources and energy on the right people. Does that make sense? And so out of the top third, middle third, and bottom third, let's chop down the easiest one. Inevitably, either it's yourself or it's members of your team that are in the top third. And what does that mean? That means that they are the superstars. That means they got it. That means they've grasped the vision. That means that they're proactive and looking for tasks. That means that they're what I call thoroughbreds. They're off to the races. They're running. They're gone. That's my top third. I don't have to say a whole lot, or we could be in a meeting and I know when the meeting adjourns, boom, they're rolling, okay? And I've got some, oh my goodness, I've been so fortunate. I've got some thoroughbreds on my, dang near all of them. I've got some top third, top tier people on my squad. They'll come and tell me, hey, I'm working on this, or I need your input on something that I even forgot that we were working on. That's, man, thank you. Hey, cover me, lift me up, hold me together. Right? So that's your top third. You don't need a whole lot of resources or energy. What you need for them is something we're going to talk about in a minute. But that top third, man, they're rolling. Okay, you got them. Hopefully you've got one at least. Maybe you got a couple. I know in majority of the businesses or majority of my professional career, that was just something that was important to me. I wanted to always be a top tier guy, a top tier performer. I wanted to always be in the top, a thoroughbred. I wanted to always be the superstar, right? And whatever the task is, I may not even know the information, but I'm going to hammer through. I'm going to be up late, whatever it takes to figure it out and to deliver, right? Your top third people are deliverers. They deliver that thing. Look at me. I'm going to line it up better. See that? Thank you. Look at. Okay, right. That's your top third. You don't have to spend a whole lot of time worrying about them. And then you've got your bottom third. Now, your bottom third are people who we call them on the bubble. Your bottom third are underperformers. You got to be honest, right? Your bottom third are people that just haven't grasped the vision. Your bottom third are people, sometimes for me, the bottom third might be people who I would consider are not coachable, right? Aren't coachable. They're not impressionable, okay? A lot of times your bottom third are people that are set in their ways. They've already done this for 25 years, so, they've already got it figured out, okay? Or they may be, sometimes they're people who are just getting into the industry. Maybe your entry level people and they got to get around that learning curve, and maybe they're just not getting around that learning curve, right? So your bottom third, or or your bottom third are just sucky employees. We got to be honest. Sometimes you got them. Sometimes they get through your filter. Sometimes they get into the organ. Sometimes they get on your team. And it's nobody's fault. You try to interview, you try to research, you try to do all the things that you wanted to do to assemble your team. And sometimes you just have a bottom third. They just come in and maybe they didn't meet expectations, right? Maybe they have a different value system and you really weren't able to extrapolate that from the interviews. But ultimately, you got to evaluate, all right? Top third, middle third, and bottom third. Or they could even be there for a while, but man, you just have a wave of, over time, you just have a lot of high caliber, high performing people. And so just really maybe not even out of anything specific, but organically, they're kind of moving down the ranks. But if I put them on the list, and if I'm evaluating my top third, my middle third, and my bottom third on every team, a lot of times you'll have some people down that bottom third. Does that make sense? You follow me? And then you have the middle third. What do we do with the middle third? The middle third are those individuals on your team, right? As you're assessing the team that you have assembled, you have the middle third where where they have potential to move up to stardom, where they have potential to be thoroughbreds, where they have a lot of potential, whether it be natural abilities, they need some education, whether it be education, and they need some responsibility and some direction on how to get things done, some methodology things, whatever it may be. Your middle third, as you're looking at your team, are those who have the potential to move up into being a thoroughbred, being a superstar, right? And so when you identify your middle third of your team, as you're assessing them, those are the ones you want to give your resources and your time to. Those are the ones you want to sit down and make sure they have all the tools, we talk about it, all the tools to be successful. Those are the ones you want to give a book to. Those are the ones you want to send a class to. Those are the ones you want to do an online the middle third are the people that aren't they're not either superstars yet, and they're not low performers, right? And so if you want to best use your resources, then that's that middle third. The bottom third, hey, you put a lot of resources in them, where are they going to go? All right. The top third, they don't need a whole lot of resources because they already grabbed it and they're off and running. The middle third of your team, as you're assessing them, are who you put your time in resources. So think right now, you got a team of 3. All you need is 3. One of them is a superstar. One of them you don't have to give a whole lot of direction to. One of them does not need micromanagement. That's a great word, right? Micromanaging. That superstar does it. The superstar, micromanaging gets on their nerves. They don't even like to be watched. Why? Because they got it. And they're delivering what they say they're supposed to do, what you say they're supposed to do, right? The bottom third, not a lot of resources, okay? They're pretty much on their way out. They're on the bubble. They got to step it up, right? They have the tools, they have they have direction, they have expectations, but they're just not performing, right? Your middle third, you've got some people, one person, a few people that are on your middle third, and really when you sit down and talk to them, they've got what it takes. They just need a little more. They need some help. They need some mentorship. They need some coaching. They need some teaching, and they have the ability and the potential to move up. Does that make sense? You follow me? We assembled a team. We're assessing our team. The other key component that I found when we're dealing with teamwork and when I'm keeping my organization together is motivate. How well are you at motivating your team? Answer that question. Do you know how to motivate your team? Do you know how to motivate yourself? Let's start with yourself. When you get up in the morning, how do you motivate yourself? Is it music? Is it coffee? Whatever it is, motivate yourself. And then how do you motivate your team? One of the key components of having an effective, high-performing team, when we're talking about teamwork, is each and every individual has some way that they're motivated, has something that incentivizes them, something that a carrot out them for the run, right? Everybody has something that makes them tick, right? Something that makes them go, something that makes them happy and excited to come in tomorrow. So how are you motivating your team? How are you being intentional about who and what motivates individuals? And why do I say that? Because we're all motivated on different ways. Some of us want a gift card. Oh my gosh, I can't, I feel so appreciated, right? That's what motivation does. People who feel appreciated are motivated. So how do we motivate our team? How do we appreciate? How do we let them know that how valuable they are to us, right? Incentives, recognition. Incentives and recognition. Incentives and recognition. But it has to be intentional and it has to be on an individual basis, right? You get some people that like flowers, right? And some people that could care less about flowers. You get some people that want a gift card, Starbucks, they love it. You're buying when they get their coffee the next 3 mornings, they use their gift card and wow, this is awesome, right? Some people are motivated by, this goes into another component that is important for you to understand on each and every person. Not only how do they communicate, both out and in reception of communication, but what is their love language? So what sparks their fire, right? So we want to recognize them, right, in the lane that they're going to receive it the most. We want to recognize them in the way that speaks to their love language. Okay, and those of you who don't know, there's 5 love languages. We're not going to go into all those right now or anything, especially because I changed my viewpoint in 2023. Even though there's 2 love languages that are my primary, hey, man, all about me in 23, right? Don't settle. I want all love languages in my life. I need all of them. Give me gifts, recognition, all of them, right? And that's what I do with my team. Well, that's what I do with my team. How do they like to be recognized? And we've all done it. We did it on the board together. We went through our words of affirmation. Those are real strong in words of affirmation. Those are real strong in deeds. Those are real strong, right? We went through all that so that we knew how each other ticks, right? And I've got one admin person and I just smile because they do know that words of affirmation are one of my love languages, right? And so very, very regularly, we'll give each other words of affirmation, right? She'll come by and just say, something, she appreciates me or whatever. She knows it, even though I kind of, put thank you. But she knows it just makes me melt, right? It makes me melt. I love it. Thank you. Right? Recognition, your team. You've assembled a team that you think is fantastic. You've assessed them so that you're able to make sure you got the right people in the right place, right? You got your thoroughbreds out and running. You got your people that you're going to put resources and time to, right? And then you got your people that you're kind of weeding out, replacing potentially, right? But each and every one of them, you got to motivate them. If you're a leader, if you're in charge of your team or if you're on a team, okay, because team members, you don't have to be the leader. You don't have to be the designated captain's chair to motivate. Any team member can motivate each other. So what incentives do they like? Okay, I told you last week when I came back from France, go check out last week's show. We were all over France, Monaco, just all over in Paris. Man, it was awesome. But I told you when I came back, one of the things the first meeting that I had with my entire team, I made sure I had a whole stack of gift cards. Because I wanted to let them know, man, I appreciate all the diligence. I appreciate you guys allowing me to go and do something away and everything remained intact. Kept them motivated. Before I left, I went by the office when nobody was there and I wrote on the board, all of you are Avengers, signed John Oneal. Because I wanted them to know what I think of them, that I appreciate them, right? And this is how I motivate them. Does that make sense? So we've assembled them, we've assessed them, we've motivated them, right? How else? How else can we make our team effective? Here's one other one. How well are you at delegating? How well are you at delegating? Are you the type of person who thinks that if I don't do it myself, it doesn't get done right? Because that's not team. Are you the type of person that thinks that, you already gave them a chance to do it, and because they didn't do it, you'll never give them another chance? Because that's not team, right? I want all of my team. I want my team. I want my house team, my home, my work team. I want all the team. I want my tire team on my car. I want my whole team to know that I'm delegating the power to you, right? I'm delegating. You are empowered. You are emboldened. You're my help. So are you an effective delegator? Are you delegating things to the right people at the right time with the right tools, with the right expectations, right? Everybody needs something different. When you delegate, again, it goes back to communication. It goes back to motivation, right? Because if I give someone a task, I have to know how they communicate. How am I going to give the task to them? Again, just had a meeting today, right? One of the individuals in the meeting said, yes, I need that list, because that's how, if I'm going to delegate something to them, that's the best way for them to be successful. They like to have a list in front of them. They like to chop down through it. They like to check it off. They like to highlight. They like to strike it. Whatever they like to do with that list is how they would like to be delegated. And I have to, if I want to have a successful team, I have to make sure they have the list that they're requesting, right? So how do you delegate? How do you promote passion on your team when you're delegating? You have people that are passionate about administrative things. That gets them motivated, right? And so that's who I'm going to delegate those things to. I'm not going to delegate it to this person over here who is technologically challenged. They can't do a spreadsheet like I need. Feel me? So in our lives, all of us have teams that we deal with. All of us have people on our teams. Again, at home, family of 5, kids, whatever it is, professionally, at church, whatever you're doing, look around. You've got teams all over the place. You're part of a team. You and me are part of a team in the success of this show. And I've assembled a team, and that's you watching right now. And you're the right person in the right role to help this show reach more people. And I'm assessing everybody, and I've assessed you, and you are a superstar and a thoroughbred on my team. And so grab this vision and this mission and get it out there, right? And I'm going to motivate you, hopefully by my words, because I can't pass something through the screen. Shoot me an email. Maybe you'll get something, a surprise. Who knows? But I want you to be motivated today on whatever team that you're part of or you're in charge of. Feel me? And then lastly is delegate. I delegate likes, shares, and comments to you. YouTube channel. We just loaded everything on to the new YouTube channel. Actually, it was there, but it has older videos. Bear with me on the older videos. Some of them are, my poetry reading. Those of you know, I got a poetry book written and just about ready for distribution. But I got some old, Need for Speed. I'm not a big gamer, but I got some, driving stuff. Don't worry about that. I got every show on there, and I'm delegating to you. I'm asking for your help, right? On this great big team that we're on. You're on the Onealien Show's team. And so I'm delegating. Go to YouTube, share it, read the description maybe, but listen and watch and share it with somebody. Maybe nothing. I don't believe nothing. I'm sorry. I don't believe that you could watch the Onealien Show and not get one thing from it. I don't believe it. So I don't know why, if you could get one thing from it, you're not sharing it and allowing one other person to get one thing from it. What helping hand are you extending? As my delegate, as my teammate, let's get the Onealien Show out there. So that's what we wanted to talk about today. As I'm closing and wrapping up, wanted to talk about teamwork. Man, it's so important for your success. As you're becoming a better person, how well are you leading your team? How well are you assembling the people? How well are you assessing them? Do you have a written assessment? Okay. How well are you motivating them, keeping them motivated? Bonus structure maybe. Little things, little tasks that you don't have to do this. I'm going to do it. I've done that before. I need to do it again. Thank you for reminding me, my own brain, right? Sometimes my facilitators who are teaching classes, I'll just get the gumption to go down and say, hey man, sit on the side. Let me teach the class today, right? So how often do you step in and recognize someone's awesomeness? Public recognition is one of the number one motivators on planet Earth, right? And when I'm in a meeting with my entire team, for me to pinpoint somebody, sometimes it's all of them, sometimes it's specific individuals, right? And I let them know in front of everybody, this isn't a secret thing. I appreciate you, right? And how well are you delegating? How well are you passing things on? How well are people who you're delegating things to performing? Are you following me? Awesome. So this is the Onealien Show. I came to you today to talk about teamwork because it's important, right? I came to you today with a grateful heart because you know that I approach everything with a grateful heart. I came to you today with my hand extended to help. If you need some help, then go onto my website, theonealien.com. You could contact me directly there, and we could talk. Hey, I'm not a licensed anything. What I am is a great guy. What I am is a weathered man. What I am is not weathered man. I said weathered man. What I am is a person who's walked the planet Earth for almost 52 years. I turned 52 in July. Could you believe it? I'm going to take a drink to that one. July 15th, Cancerian, rise up, right? I turned 52, baby, and that's the best days of my life. Man, when I was little, when they used to talk about turning 50 and you're old, do this, do that, lies. This is the best life. I can look behind. I can look all the way down and relate, and I can look all the way up and relate. Man, it's the best time. It's the best time. So help me out. Feel me? This is the Onealien Show. It's been quick. It's been impactful, and you are here this week and again next week. Tune into all the channels. We're on TikTok. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We're on all of them, The Onealien Show. We're on Star Worldwide Networks, The Onealien Show. We're on YouTube, The Onealien Show. We're all over the place, and it's not for me. It's for you, The Onealien Show. Get your team together. Get yourself together, and then get your team together. Find the right people in the right role. Assess them properly, right? Motivate them. Delegate. The Onealien Show. Until next time, I'm out. See you.